Great afternoon. How are you?
Oh, just a second, Sarah. For some reason, my thing didn't pick up here. Let me redo this.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Sarah?
Yes, great. Loud and clear.
Sarah, can you say something?
Okay, can you hear me now?
That's much better. I think it's my USB connection. Hey, Tyson. Oh, that's not Tyson.
You sound great.
So there. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it.
How's your mother?
Slowly getting stronger. Have some issues. Hopefully,
Well, it takes time.
yeah. Now let me fire up here. Okay. Yeah, there's never a convenient time to have medical issues in the family. That's what I'm discovering. So anyway.
There's never a perfect time in life, period. For anything.
You actually had a call to LegalShield regarding power of attorney for my mom. I guess we straightened it out. So LegalShield was actually a pretty big help in that area. We didn't have to use an attorney in Virginia yet, but that may be coming soon. So
super, super.
Anyway, how you been doing, Sarah?
I've been doing great.
Okay.
Yes, the calls have been plentiful.
We got a great lineup today. Let me make.
And I'm going to miss part of it. I have an 8 o'clock
Tyson
training Zoom.
I know.
I hate that. You send me my link though, please.
I can't.
I'm going to reschedule that.
I saw. I can make Janie. Sarah, I got to make you a co-host, of course.
Okay. Happy. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Let me. Someone interrupted. I was trying to make you a co-host. Okay, and Mike Jones is also supposed to be joining us. I wonder if Mike's on. Oh, okay. Tyson just came on again. I didn't find Mike. Oh, there we go. There's Mike. Okay, and Chris is supposed to be joining us. You see Chris here. Oh, did I pass over Tyson? Here's Tyson. Okay, and we just made a bunch of people co-host, so they can Zoom bomb us if they want to. Here. Okay. Well, Sarah, it's almost ready to get started. Again, as always.
No, too early. Is it 7 o'clock already? I have too much to do tonight for it to be 7 o'clock. Probably like many others on the line.
Yeah, most of the Auben Realty team's on, and I'm recording this, Sarah, so I'll send you a link to the recording. But Auben Realty, these guys are great. They really are, and I'm glad they can speak tonight. I'm glad
Okay, well, send me my link. I'll do the replay. You'll be number 2 for tomorrow. I have another one from today, and you'll be number 2 as I plan in the morning.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. But okay, let me, Sarah, if it's okay, let me get you underway here, okay?
Okay, yep.
Folks, this is our pre-meeting session. We always have our pre-meeting session from 7 to 7:30. We cover ways to get affordable legal protection and identity theft protection using LegalShield services. I'm a big believer in it. And I'd like to give like a little bankruptcy case study before introducing Sarah. One of the ways, our regional director, Sarah Mitchell, but one of the ways, as I mentioned before, when the pandemic first started, it had been predicted that there'd be lawsuits flying back and forth all over the place. We live in a really litigious society now. And I've taught y'all how to troll, among other things, the online public index to find, the pre-foreclosures, list pendencies. And sure enough, I'm sorry, folks. Okay, there we go. Anyway, what I've noticed in the public index, which shows all lawsuits in general, is both Lexington and Richland counties have really jumped up in litigation. So I think LegalShield has been a big money saver for me. And I have a mom in the hospital right now. I've already tapped into them. She's up in Virginia. So I've tapped into the LegalShield usage in Virginia. So it's actually quite handy to have at a very affordable price. This came out just recently. I saw the April 6th. Okay. Governor McMaster has already decided, it's time to go back to work. And I don't blame him. There's only so much, benefits you can draw. So anyway, he's being sued now. So for what it's worth, that's another indication of, the increase in litigation in our society. Anyway, oops, I'm sorry. Let me, typically we run into a decent amount of legal questions in our Facebook groups. For example, this one here involved a mobile home on 2 properties, is kind of straddling both properties. And the one person did not own the mobile home, but he wants to know if he can evict. I think they're related. So they want to know, does person B, who does not have ownership to the mobile home, have the right to evict the mobile home? Well, that's an attorney question. This is actually posted in our Facebook group, which none of us are attorneys as far as I know. So something like that, I just take right to my LegalShield attorney. They are licensed attorneys here in Columbia and Lexington and actually nationwide. So another question we'd had is in our Facebook group is probate questions, stuff like that, pre-foreclosure and probate questions. And again, LegalShield gives affordable attorneys. Now, this person asked a question regarding gouging of a contract, which, by the way, I think LLR is finally cracking down on bad contractors. Finally, it turns out they fall under a different part of the law than what labor licensing regulation can enforce. And now I know. You get a contractor rip you off, now I know which way to go. This one here involved a personal matter, not a business matter. A person was involved in a car accident and needed legal help. And as you can see here, I don't know if y'all are familiar with those billboards, Hawk Law. Apparently Hawk Law kind of got involved as the plaintiff's attorney. So I'm just showing this to show you all the litigation that's going on in society now. So it might be good to have affordable protection. And for my own personal use of LegalShield, it's called LegalShield for defense purposes. I like to use it as a weapon. Okay, I like to use it to game the system, if you will. Okay, I use it to get money whenever the case warrants it. In this case here, back in 2009, I had a bad, rude tenant default on a lease. So normally I wouldn't do this, but I was pretty angry. So I went after the tenant, and I found out from LegalShield that I can go after the tenant for the remainder of the lease that they defaulted on. So I just, I thought I was doing calculations, and I said, I don't care. I just pushed it up to the maximum. $7,500 is the maximum for small claims court in South Carolina. I said, heck with it, So I pushed up to 7,500, and it turns out that person never showed up to court. So I got what's called a default judgment. So what I did was I recorded that default judgment at the courthouse maybe a couple months later. I was kind of lazy. I should record it right away. Now, turns out that was a good thing, because in South Carolina, what I learned is very difficult to collect from debtors generally. Okay, they have a lot of protections here. Fortunately, this person went out, got a mortgage, bought a house, and declared Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Since I had the judgment recorded at the courthouse, well, it popped up in my lap again. I didn't expect this. Literally 9 years later, okay, I got served with foreclosure papers. They were trying to foreclose off my lien. So I said to myself, okay, this might be a good thing. See, a judgment in South Carolina, if it's recorded at the courthouse, is only good for 10 years. Had this happened after 2019, then I'd have been out of luck. Okay, in this case here, it happened maybe about a year before my statute of limitations would have run out. Anyway, the final result was from LegalShield guidance. My initial judgment amount was $7,590. And apparently I found out from LegalShield, I can charge accrued interest during that time. So that put it up to $13,603.44 is what the debtors actually is a husband and wife, had to end up paying me over 5 years. Okay. So that was a good thing. This kind of money here, I'd say paid for a good number of LegalShield membership months. So I'm very glad I had LegalShield on my side. A few things, I learned a couple things during this process. I don't want to mess with criminal law in South Carolina, because that's pretty bad stuff. That's like murder, robbery, stuff like that. Okay. Civil law, I'll dive right in both feet, because I want to learn, how does this work? Whenever you enter a game, make sure you know the rules. LegalShield helps me by showing me the rule book. Okay. Anyway, this is the judgment that was awarded and recorded in Aiken County Courthouse. You can see the initial amount was $7,590. Okay. The maximum allowed for small claims court is $7,500, but I'm allowed to charge other fees in addition to that. The magistrate fee is $80 to get a small claims, to even go to court. The recording fee at the courthouse is $10. And what I forgot to do is I forgot to put the sheriff's search fee, which is another $25. Well, it was another $25 back then, so that should have really been a little bit higher. But it turns out when the sheriff did a search, and usually they come back with what's called a nulla bono, which is nothing found. Okay. So obviously I can't collect. Now, Sarah, remember this, but back in the day, LegalShield was called prepaid legal. Okay. I had it back when it was called prepaid legal. And I when I signed up under Sarah, by then it was called LegalShield. I was a member of prepaid legal for years, and I decided to re-sign up under Sarah, because Sarah has a lot more knowledge than the previous person that I was under. And anyway, short story is they do legal research as part of your membership for each of your cases. So their legal research I asked them to do was on debt collections. And if you see here, there's a lot of exemptions for debtors in South Carolina. It's almost impossible to collect from individual debtors, okay, unless it's government related or public servants related, like hospital bills or something. If you're an individual trying to collect a debt on an awarded judgment, it's tough. You're almost completely out of luck. Okay, so the LegalShield tip I learned from this research was choose your debt pursuits wisely. All right. In this case here, I got lucky. I got someone who wanted to buy a house and happened to do so. Now notice, I got a judgment and they're still able to get a mortgage. The courthouses in South Carolina, at least in our markets, Columbia, Lexington, and Aiken counties will not report judgments to the credit bureaus. That's up to us to figure out a way to do that. So until something happens, foreclosure process, or they try to sell the house, our judgments don't show up. Get mortgages to their heart's content. Okay. Anyway, it turns out the debtors declared Chapter 13, and that's how I ended up getting paid plus a lot. When the lender, who happened to be Wells Fargo, if I recall, they tried to foreclose me off, well, I popped up. Okay. And the Coles, the debtors, they tried to, they Chapter 13 bankruptcy because they wanted to keep their house. So I was in the way, so they had to pay me. In the end, the bankruptcy attorney, a guy named Andrew Marine down in Aiken, I know this guy. Okay. That's all he does, bankruptcy. That's his main bread and butter is bankruptcy law. So he tried to get me accept $7,580 for the final amount. I said, I don't think so. So LegalShield, with consultation by them, had me increase that amount to $13,000, almost $604. Okay, that's quite a difference. So anyway, that really helped a lot having that kind of guidance with me. Few lessons learned. Okay, you can sue tenants for the remaining rent on their leases if they stop paying, and you'll often win. Just have everything lined up, all your notes and everything. And also, remember I said in the last meeting how to structure your lease. It's not 100% foolproof lease, but it's pretty darn close to it. I mean, that lease was created with a lot of pain. Also, be picky about the tenants you spend time and money to sue, because remember I said it's tough to collect debt on, especially tenants who have nothing. You can't get blood from a stone. Judgment collections can be difficult to collect in South Carolina, and also you must notify the credit agency. Courthouses won't do it. Yeah, there's gurus out there selling like credit courses and stuff and saying, "Oh, don't worry, just get a judgment and it'll ding their credit." No, that's not true. And not only that, if you try to call the big credit agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and if you're not a member of their subscription service, their expensive subscription service, you're out of luck with that too. You got to go to third-party agencies like Landlord Debt or something like that, okay, and have them record it, and you have to pay them. Now, also, when you're awarded a judgment, if you're acquitted at the courthouse, it expires after 10 years, never to be seen again. I didn't know that. It's not there forever. So you got 10 years to collect, otherwise it's gone. If you don't record the judgment, it expires after 3 years. Not only that, if you do not record the judgment, a bankruptcy, a pre-foreclosure action or whatever, they'll never contact you. They won't even know you exist. So if you decide to get a judgment, record it. It's $10, okay? But again, choose the people you choose to pursue for that debt carefully. People who have the potential to actually have some assets one day. Also, judgment amounts are entitled to accrued interest. I didn't know that. After 9 years, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to collect $7,590. Whoopee. Okay. You can do the math on that. With inflation, the cost of living increases, it's not much after 9 years. Well, if I hadn't had LegalShield, I would have known that you can add interest to that over the years. It used to be back in the day, maybe like before the early 2000s, South Carolina used to just have a straight 12% per year that you can add on. And somewhere along the line there, maybe like 2003 or 4 or something, I forget what it was, they made it so each year the Supreme Court of South Carolina determines what rate of interest, the maximum rate of interest you're allowed to charge debtors. So that's what I did. I just looked up the maximum rates and tacked it on. Anyway, that's my case on bankruptcy. If you personally go through a bankruptcy situation as a creditor, I've never gone through it as a debtor. Okay, I've been in bankruptcy as a creditor, both as an unsecured creditor as well as a secured creditor. Okay, basically with a house involved, collateral. So if you do, give me a call and I'll tell you what I know. I'm not an attorney, but I can tell you what I know, and hopefully it'll help you make decisions, money-making decisions for yourself. Now I'd like to introduce Sarah Mitchell. Sarah's our local LegalShield Regional Director. Okay, Sarah's probably one of the best. Actually, she is the best person I know to speak on this. Sarah's formerly trained in business administration and accounting. So, she's not just some, local yokel off the streets here. She knows her stuff. She's a former manager at Bell South, and she signed on with LegalShield in 1998 and is now full-time with LegalShield. She regularly trains using LegalShield attorneys and ID protection services. And Sarah specializes in the small business and employee benefits area. She definitely knows what she's talking about. Sarah, are you unmuted?
I am now. Can you hear me?
You okay? Yeah. You okay?
Okay.
I can. Okay. If it's okay, Sarah, take the controls.
Okay. Do I have screen sharing capability at the moment?
Okay.
It says
you have to relinquish screen share.
Okay. I'll do yes. Okay. I think I'm great. Awesome.
Okay. I still can't see your screen. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Can you see it?
I can. Thank you.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, again, gosh, everyone, family, I'm just going to say family here. Has Bob shared tonight, or has Bob shared? I don't think I need to say anything, right? Just one of his situations, I just made a note that $13,600, I believe, that recovery alone was worth, was about 28 years of your membership payment, Bob. So I think with that one, I mean, you would have to, it would cover 28 years of your membership, less than $40 a month. That is just phenomenal, not to mention all the others. So for all of you on the line tonight here joining us, just thanks for being part of Midlands REIA. And I certainly have learned so much by participating and listening to all the speakers. So I will go fast because this is a high level overview. Bob's website is midlandsrea.wearelegalshield.com, and I'm just so happy to be in partnership with him. Anyone who knows Bob, and for those who've not had the pleasure of meeting him but have heard his name, the first thing come to mind is how he loves helping people. And that's how we connected, and I think it's inseparable going forward. So go to his website. He has all the plans there. I am normally the spokesperson to help answer questions. And by default, everything just goes to Midlands REIA. So we work together. And I think all of you on the line have experienced some form of a need for utilizing an attorney. And I think we all agree with the right resources, running a business can be easier. It doesn't matter what your business is. If you have the right resources, it can be less stress, less headache. And of course, Bob has always shared all of his knowledge with everyone and more. But as he stated, yes, very knowledgeable, but not an attorney. And that's why we're so excited about, sharing this information. I would like for you to just jot down, if you're not driving, just jot down $38. Just think about what Bob shared with you for the last, 10, 15 minutes. He did not pay in excess of $38 a month. It was literally tapping the app on his phone and utilizing the attorneys for all of those services. That is just huge. So I'm just going to go ahead and just share with you. I'm confident. Many of you on the line tonight, you've experienced some of the following: debt collection issues, signing contracts not reviewed, signing documents not reviewed. No disrespect to you and your area of discipline, but whatever you're signing was most likely written by someone else's attorney. So who is covering you? That's what it's all about. What about contractors and supplier disputes? Contractors' confidentiality issues. Those things continue to haunt all of us as business owners. COVID has not gone away, and we will not have the old norm. It's no norm anymore. It's a pivot. I think it's going to continue for quite some time. So now, even with that, there's still some debt collection issues and different things out there. And you have to really consult with legal counsel to make sure you can do what you would have done prior to 2020. Different world. You may have sent a letter to a credit repository, but now you may not be able to do that because of COVID. Who best to get an answer The correct answer, call your law firm. So, what about all the new governances out there? COVID has changed everything. We have now we're calling it the restart, where business are opening up and all. That's bringing about another set of issues. I think we've heard about some of the lawsuits through Bob, and a lot of the hospitals staff saying, no, I'm not taking a shot. It's a lot going on. So what we're doing, we have a legal restart resource center on Bob's website, or he can make it available to you. That's another help, so that what you've worked so hard for is not at risk because of you not knowing. 60% of small businesses experience a legal issue in the last 2 years. I mean, and it's not handcuffs. I have right here on my desk where the attorneys just reviewed a contract for me about 2 weeks ago, and they identified some language that was suggested that I change on that contract to protect who? Sarah Mitchell. So that's what we're looking at. There's still all the SBA and the P protection plan out there, and the EIDL. All of that is still going on. Individuals receiving monies and not even certain as to what the ramification can be if it's not allocated properly and all that. Call your law firm. So just ask yourself, have you signed a contract lately? What if you're in a partnership with someone? I've had some real interesting partnerships, referrals to come my way recently, where people, because of the pivot, they're being creative and they've decided to be partners, verbal partners. Wrong answer, wrong answer. You definitely want to have it in writing, and it's not best that you write that if you're not an attorney, but have an attorney to assist in verifying that. Because one messy situation where someone died and there was a boat situation on the property. It was just a lot of different things. If only her husband had entered into that partnership on paper, the widow would not have gone through what she was going through when she called me. So we have a lot of things upon us. So just imagine having a law firm at your disposal for less than $1.25 a day. That's what Bob's experiencing. So, when it comes down, we can't even go to McDonald's for a senior cup of coffee for $1.25, and I know the latte that Bob and I liked, that's about almost a half a month membership. So that's what we're looking at. So write down just imagine you having all of the business protection that Bob referenced, plus more, for $12.95 added to a basic personal legal plan. And guess how much the legal plan is? $24.95. That's why when I tell you Bob, he's paying less than $40 per month, and look at the value, the benefit, the peace of mind, protection, and security that he has there. Even if he was paying $40 per week, it would be worth it. But to think of that for a month. And so what does this supplement provide you? Consultation as it relates to your business. If it's flipping properties or anything related to your business. So they are there to help you grow and sustain that business. Document collection letters. Bob mentioned that. Well, we all know if you have a collection issue and you defer that to collection agencies, they retain a percent of that. Here, whatever LegalShield assists you in recovering is yours 100%. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. IRS audit representation, here again, we are Schedule C, Schedule E. All of that is covered, with that same $37.90. What else is covered? The personal side, unlimited telephone consultations on the personal side. And I can go over stories and stories forever. I've had this service since 1998, and I have used it enough to wallpaper my office. It's just been that much of a value and just so accessible. So the attorneys review your contracts, they review documents for you on a personal side, IRS audit assistance there, civil trial defense, that is huge. We even cover uncontested divorce, name change, adoption, separation. Just had someone referred to me this afternoon, young lady, and she was saying, so somebody told me to call you, Sarah. It's like, okay, great. So it was one of my members. And she was so ecstatic when I told her that if her divorce is uncontested, she doesn't have to pay anything but maybe a little bit of court costs. There are no attorney fees. And she signed up. I told her I'll call her back tomorrow with her number, her member number. So that's what you're looking at, how we can help you. Estate planning, I've done more will workshops the last year than I've done almost collectively in my 20 plus years of being with LegalShield. Why is that? The need in the marketplace. And here you can have your living will, your last will and testament, your healthcare power of attorney, durable power of attorney. All of those estate planning documents you can start tonight from the comfort of your phone. And I understand many of you on the line, you're going, you're growing, and that's great. But a lot of time you're going so fast and focusing on the main thing, you're possibly neglecting updating certain things that could help you to retain what you've worked so hard for. So that's where this will allow you work from the comfort of your phone, start that will and all those other documents there. And it's for you and your spouse. And that's all inclusive, $24.95. Emergency access, 24/7. If you feel your rights are being violated, if you're being detained, questioned, you're a teenager, it doesn't matter. 24/7 emergency. Is that huge? Is that huge? And there are other services. It could be pre-existing, bankruptcy, DUI, drug trafficking, murder, rape, anything else you could think of. You get to participate as a member with a discount, 25%. So we know affordable legal protection in and out of the court is literally what LegalShield provides to our members. The other area of protection we have is identity theft. Documented, you can do your research. Identity theft is up 400% since March 2020, 400% increase. People are getting others PPP loan money. One of my business partners, someone filed for unemployment in his name, his wife's name. He opened up a bank account in his name and his wife's name for the deposits to go into. Of course, he had the service, so it wasn't as devastating as it could have been. So this is what's happening. And we're proud to say that we're the only company to date that's providing comprehensive restoration in all areas of identity theft. I mean, all of this is covered. Your passport, your SN. Guys, we're getting ready to go to Cabo next month. And what if I'm detained over there because of someone having used my passport? So again, that's what you're looking at here. All of the U factor. This is not, I mean, we have security on the cars, security on the phones, security on the PC. Where's our security? Without us, nothing else matters. So this is part of another service we offer. How many of you on social media? Everybody on this line, I'm sure. Here again, can that be damaging, especially in today's environment? It's so different than it was in 1990, 1976. It's a different world. So here you have where someone is looking after you, helping that reputation be retained. That's what's so important. And so we have that privacy management piece. I'm excited about that because the other thing is not only do we protect you, but we also have it where we're protecting your business now, cybersecurity, protection for your business, well, and for nonprofit organizations. So if you're affiliated with any organizations, please let Bob know, let them know about Bob so that we can educate them on how they can pay as little as $79 and have this type of robust identity theft service available to that organization. Many gun owners are, firearm owners exist now. 20 million plus were sold, firearms were sold in 2020, 20 million. I mean, that is huge. So again, this is another supplement that we have that you can add to your $24.95. It's only $12.95. Lawsuits can happen. Let your provider defense team handle it. You might want to take a screenshot of this portfolio of services. However, if you go on Bob's website, Midlands REIA, we are LegalShield.com. It's there. You just click on whatever you're interested in. We have share rider, delivery supplements, personal trial defense. I have extra trial defense, and this is all I do because someone could easily allege that I said something or did something inappropriately in a setting or on a Zoom. Home business supplement, the gun owner supplement, the small business plans, ID Shield for personal business. By the way, Bob and I, we are so excited and proud of the fact that this is what's being said. We can't even share all of what's being said, but just as it relates to these few, I'm sure you can attest and agree, money, very credible. They said ID Shield was ranked as one of the 4 best identity theft protection services of 2021. Here again, Forbes Advisors 2021. You know, you're looking at direct sales there, news, Benefit Pro. So you can see the credibility is there with others saying who we are and how all this pan out. As I stated, many of you on the line have the legal plan already, along with the home business supplement, and are paying the $37.90. That has become one of the flagship parts here for Midlands REIA because it really meets your need to a great degree. There are others we can do layers. So again, I'm Sarah Mitchell, and I thank you so much for allowing me to share tonight. As you can see, perks right there. I don't know about you, but I love savings. If you put, you can say, mark it down from $50 to $49.99. I'll give it some attention. And the perks, exactly, that's what it does greater. I have saved this computer. I save over $600. I mean, flowers. You just have discounts galore that will have it where even your cell phone, my chiropractor, they get like $4 or $5 off of each cell phone bill because they utilize the perks in that regard. It's part of one of our providers, affiliates. So the perks will have you saving more money than you're paying out, in addition to LegalShield itself bringing more income into the home because you don't have to worry about legal expense going out. So having said that, again, please give Bob a call, or you see my number 803-622-5334. I'm more than happy to entertain any questions that you might have on any of the product and facilitate the enrollment piece as well as it relates to Midlands REIA getting credit. Thank you so much for allowing me to visit with you tonight. Back to you, Bob.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. Let me just move back to my screen here. Okay, folks, can you see my screen okay, Sarah? Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
I can see it great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, I do want to point something out. You can make money by, frankly, selling LegalShield yourself, but I suggest this, and this is what I've learned. Don't get it unless you're actually going to use it yourself. Don't get it just because you're going to try to make a buck off it. Okay. Use it. You got to believe in it. And I use this thing very extensively. Anyway, I'm a big believer in LegalShield myself. It saved me tons of money. It's actually made me money, as I mentioned before, my bankruptcy case study. But thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. I would like to interject, Bob, with you saying that if anyone is interested in more information on the business side, I'm happy to talk with you because you would be affiliated with Midlands REIA. So if you want to look at it as a partnership.
Yeah, that's Sarah's, perhaps, when it comes to especially LegalShield, is to me my true guru, my mentor. So anyway, thank you again, Sarah. Okay. Oh yeah. Just as a reiteration of that case study I went over, I got a judgment awarded back in 2009 for $7,590. And the end result, because under LegalShield guidance, the debtors had to pay interest on that. So in the end, I was awarded over 5 years, $13,603.44, almost twice the original amount they owed me because I was allowed to charge accrued interest for that. So, and again, if you have any questions regarding bankruptcy, at least my personal experiences, give me a call. and I'll be glad to tell you what I went through. It might help you. Okay. Thank you for coming to our Midlands REIA meeting. And again, we have it every second Monday of the month. Right now, we are still meeting online. Tentatively, we're going to start meeting in person in September. I'm seeing like the news articles about how it's dying down, but occasionally I'll see it, kick up somewhere else, like in the Northwest, something. I just don't trust this virus. So I hope y'all can be patient with us until we start being in person. So we're going to keep an eye on it, but looks like hopefully the summer will pass. All these people go to like Disney World and everything for the summer, and they'll give each other the virus and build up their own immunities and stuff. Hopefully we'll be able to start meeting in person in September. I think safety is number one on my mind for sure. Liability disclosure is that no one in Midlands REIA, well, we do have an attorney who's a member, but he's not, I don't think he's here tonight. No one in Midlands REIA, as far as I know, is licensed as an attorney or financial planner. So if you question, anything is just preference of the members or myself. If you question the legal or financial wisdom of anything you see or hear in a meeting or presentation, please seek qualified help, because I assure you, we're not supposed to be it. All right. And that being said and out of the way, for those of you who know me, okay, you have personal opinions about real estate law and how it really works here, but we'll save that for another time. Okay. It's pretty well known that nationwide, the success rate for anyone who gets into real estate, like the creative real estate, especially like us common folk, only 3% ever do a single deal. Nationwide, I think in Colombia, I've heard it's closer to 10%, but still, that's not a good success rate at all. So anyway, one of our goals for 2021 is to create more workshops, and Carlos Barreras calls them cartels. That's kind of an aggressive term, so I'll just put it in parentheses, subgroups. Now, my contractor, Eddie Sabina, fellow investor Kaylin Sabina, and Carla Gary, one of our realtors, we actually went out to one of my houses in Camino Court off of Bluff Road. This could be a doozy of a workshop for you. So I got to talk to Eddie and get everything lined up. Also, be wary of those expensive coaching programs. You'll see what happens. I don't care if you've seen a couple $1,000s. Okay. What the gurus do, and Fortune Builders are coming back into town, by the way. And I signed up for their seminar. I got to see what they got to teach. It's hilarious, So anyway, the free seminar, I don't pay to go to their stuff. But anyway, these gurus come to town and they try to get you to put on your credit cards, or some business credit person there. They give you business credit to put on these ridiculous, expensive coaching programs, or sell you these really expensive coaches or courses. And as I mentioned, they try to get you to put on your credit cards. They get paid, knowing darn well only about 3% of us nationwide will ever do a single deal. Okay, but they got their money, so what do they care? The Midlands REIA goal is to greatly increase the success rate affordably, being the key word, to at least 50%. You don't need a whole lot of money to get started in this business. I take it back. You don't need a whole lot of money. You don't need any money to buy property, to buy real estate. You might need a little money to start your marketing and whatnot, but you don't need like tens of thousands of dollars what these gurus try to charge, or even thousands of dollars. Okay. You just need to know where to look. Okay. For beginners, we want to get you up and running independently from anyone else as soon as possible. Now, the reason I say that you need a lot of money to get started is earn your money first. Make a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there, maybe a whole, or doing a creative subject to on a property. And then if you decide you still want to go to the expensive coaching and mentoring and buy those expensive courses, use it with money you earned. Don't put it on credit. Okay. And that way you're not stuck with the debt. Okay. We want to get you up and running as soon as possible and independently from anyone else. As much as we'd like to keep you here at Midlands REIA, we know that's not practical, okay? And we just want you to be able to succeed on your own wherever you go. I don't care if it's Hawaii, Alaska, wherever, okay? Take the basic principles, although Midlands REIA does tailor it right to locally in our market here in the Midlands, actually in South Carolina, especially the Midlands. But the general principles you should be able to take. In fact, I'm trying to find my dad a house in Fairfax County, Virginia. I'm using the basic principles from here to see if I can find him a good deal on a house. For advanced investors, we want to provide the best continuing resources possible. Should you decide you want to stay Midlands REIA, okay, we'd love to, and obviously we need criticism. We need to hear your criticism. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading a couple things here. Okay, thank you, George. Okay, everyone see Teal's message there. So, by all means, send Teal your email and whatnot in the chat. Okay. Anyway, we love to keep the advanced investors because we also learn from them, and we like to pass that on as well, the knowledge they teach us. Why the low success rate of only 3% nationwide? And I actually got this from a LegalShield instructor. Okay, because it's easy. Well, the way we get into real estate, it's easy to do and it's easy to not do. Okay, if you'll find that a few simple disciplines practiced every day over a long period of time will result in success. But if you keep on making the same mistake over and over again, you're going to go failure. And you'll see over time, initially success and failure look very much alike. Okay, you don't know. You just have to keep on adjusting. This business initially, especially, is trial and error. Okay, and you find out what works, and then you put it into your system. Okay, so anyway, you can see here a lot of people quit right before they see success or failure. And actually, failure, to be honest with you, if you quit, that's considered a failure. But the beauty is you can always restart it again. Okay, how much tenacity you have to keep in this game. A good club or association will offer an abundance of resources, provide great networking, which is kind of tough during this COVID time, give the best training possible. That's why I always jump into the legal issues feet first, the civil ones, not the criminal ones. I want to learn how the law really works here. I mean, from a layperson's point of view, and pass on that knowledge to you from a non-lawyer point of view. A good club or association always seeks to improve and adapt. And a good club or association learns and teaches best practices for local investing where you are. Like these gurus who come to town, they can't possibly know our systems work here. Like, for example, they'll try to sell you on something like PropStream, like pre-foreclosures. I'll tell you, in fact, I saw a post somewhere. Someone's asking for a website to find pre-foreclosures. Okay, it's the online public index. I could tell you that. I use it all the time. Okay, anyway. As you can see here, education is really important. A lot of people watch like HGTV and Flip or Flop, okay? And I was curious. I put on Facebook, Flip or Flop put up these numbers for a total profit of $53,000. And immediately, I joke around that Kristen's my daughter, okay? You can see the kind of the family resemblance. But anyway, Kristen knew right away from her education that she garnered not just from Midlands REIA, but she does her own research. She's very thorough. She's very, very, very thorough. But she knew there's no holding fees, among other things, and she knew that right away. Okay, lots of people just watch these TV shows, don't realize that. We're on the major social media channels: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and however, if nothing else, join our Facebook group. This is the link to our Facebook group, but another way, an easy way to get there is just go to our web page, okay? And the easy way to go to our web page at midlandsrea.com, and should be off to the right here, okay, right there, okay? If you click there, that goes right to our Facebook page, and there's a lot of deal flipping going on there. And if you're looking for funding for a deal, okay, post in there, need funding, and describe a little bit about the deal. You'll see people jump out of the woodwork to fund it if it's a good deal. If it's not a good deal, you won't see a whole lot of interest, okay? So anyway, you're quite welcome to join that. No membership needed for that, okay? We just want to enhance good deal flow. I know, of course, people ask questions and get, like, for example, this one here. Now, I'll admit when I don't know something. Travis asked about rental arbitrage. I'd never heard of that term. So I thought it's like sandwich lease option. Okay. Kevin's down in Tampa. He's a master deal structuring. So we're asking people from other states. So consider joining our Money Mastermind group on Facebook. Just click there on the website, or again, you can just use that link as well. It'll redirect you. When you log in, you'll see a cash buyers list. I get this question asked at least times every month. Where's your cash buyers list? Well, if you log in as a member, okay, if you It's right there. Okay. And it not only gives you names, but it also gives you their phone numbers. The last count, I think we had like 54 cash buyers. These are people who are proven buyers. Okay, I've seen them buy properties at auctions. I've actually personally sold to them. They've been highly recommended from realtors, true investors, realtors, okay, not just the people who claim they do. So anyway, so if you have a property you want to just wholesale out and you don't want to rehab it, you can just always just go down the list and let your fingers do the walking. Among some of the workshops we hold are typically workshops. This is Blair Koblisky. This was her house on Hickory Street in the Rosewood subdivision, and this went pretty quick. I think she finished rehabbing. This is Eddie Sabina. He's the main contractor. Actually, he's my contractor. Okay, he's the guy I really trust up here in the Midlands as a contractor. But I think she rehabbed it, and she's a great judge of style. And I think she had it under contract in less than 3 weeks or something. It was ridiculous. But her house moved, and she made good money on that. But all her money, the money she got to buy and fix this house up was private money in that Facebook group that we have. Okay. So if you find a good deal, you'll find the money for it. Just get good at finding deals. Now, a few things. Things are starting back up again. Every last Thursday of the month, Deborah Wanger holds a ladies' business networking meeting. Her next one is this last Thursday of the month, June 24th at 1 p.m. And apparently looks like she lives in a pretty nice subdivision. I might haunt her house one day, but it's at the pool cabana there. These are very informal, and Deborah is a seasoned rental manager. She manages like over 80 mobile homes or something like that. One day I'm going to have her come on and talk, but she's very experienced and she's a very good business person. At her meetings, you can learn good business tips as well as hopefully volunteer some of your own. Now, this one's not real estate related, but I'm going to ask Arc of the Midlands. We work with Arc of the Midlands. What they do is they serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They want to find the meaningful employment. Okay, but Arc of the Midlands in need of an executive director. Okay, it has a pretty decent salary, $46,000 to $66,000 a year. Now, it's not an easy job. Okay, so it's not like you can get this job and I'm going to collect $40,000 to $60,000 a year. Okay, but if you know anybody, or even you yourself are familiar with nonprofits, it's a nonprofit organization, and would like to maybe do good for the community as well, make a living, you could consider contacting Melinda Moore for this position. I don't know how long it'll be open for. So far, we've only had 2 applicants. We'd like to have a few more, okay? And Melinda is very, very picky with who she chooses, but we could use a good person in the Midlands, okay? Okay, calendar events. Please check regularly the calendar of events. As you can see, right now, there's not a whole lot on this calendar. I used to be able to put on I used to help announce maybe like each month, maybe four or 5 things. And I think if Sarah starts holding LegalShield meetings again, I'm going to put those on here as well. Okay. But you can see here, I used to be able to announce things like the Palmetto Real Estate Investors Network and stuff like that, but they're still not meeting because of COVID-19. But you can see here, at the very least, if you forget anything about, where Deborah's meetings are and who to contact, just go to our calendar of events on our website and just click the link. And it'll give you the information you need to be able to go to whatever appointments that interest you. Okay, we're always open to suggestions on how to improve. Okay, we love hearing, oh, you're doing great, oh, you're really good, and all this stuff, you're the best, and all that. But we really want to hear, what can we do better? Okay, what can we improve? Okay, don't get me wrong, your kind words are very appreciated, but what we really appreciate is you saying, hey guys, why don't you do this? And if it's something we can do, we'll do it. Okay, obviously, if it's something like start a tornado or something. We can't do that. So, but we're always open to improvement. Okay, we're always open to your suggestions. So please tell us how we can improve things, especially these meetings. Annual member benefits overview, discounts on Midlands REIA trainings and workshops. And usually, if there's no outside speaker, very occasionally we'll have an outside speaker who does have a course and information to sell, but only because I use them myself and I believe in them. But only if the outside speaker gives like their training, we can't control the price on that. Okay. But if we do, like, for example, the workshop at Blair's house was free to the members. Okay. It's a nominal fee to non-members. I forget what it was, like $20 or $40 or something, $40, I think. Okay. And there's no door fee to general meetings for the annual members. And as I mentioned before, we have the members area. If you log in, there's local cash buyers, documents, videos, other resources. When I say documents, contracts, assignment forms, things like that, okay? And close guidance for deals. This is Midlands REIA, not nationally, okay? So I had someone call and say, hey, I joined a REIA down in Texas. I need help with this deal. Well, you know what? You're gonna have to contact that person you joined with anyway. So now when you join Midlands REIA, okay, the first thing I want to get you through is right away, three main webinars. And don't get me wrong, these are not the only webinars. You can always call and say, hey, Bob, let's fire up another one. Okay. The first one is finding deals from local sources. I already mentioned the online public index for foreclosures. Okay. I also show you probates, bankruptcies. I'm trying to think of what else. Anyway, so you're looking for motivated sellers. Okay. And also realtors. When you know how to get the right information from the right realtor, you can turn that into some pretty good money. Okay. This is the most important webinar. Without that, without the deal, nothing else matters, in my opinion. All right. Now, webinar 2 is the basics of all cash purchases and sales, cash wholesaling, cash rehabbing. Okay. And the third one is, in my opinion, the most fun webinar because you use some creativity, your mind. You have a blank canvas and you're drawing you're sketching the deal out. You're creating that deal. Okay. So when you join, and there's a couple of y'all have joined, and we still haven't gone through these webinars. I know especially one in particular. She's active duty military, so I know she's very scant on time. She joined, was it 2 meetings? No, so between meetings a month and a half ago. Anyway, but I'm still trying to get her to get these webinars up and running. Okay, she's really stretched for time now. So anyway, each webinar is about 2 hours long. That's why it's divided into 3. If we held it, in fact, I might hold a 1-day seminar, just mix all 3 of these together. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Okay, we provide the basic training and tools to succeed. As I said before, you don't need a whole lot of money to put into education and courses and stuff to be able to start generating money in this business. Okay. This is probably the most important though. Once you get the basic information, you must take consistent and persistent action to be able to succeed. Okay. And you can see it can be tough. Okay. You're going to get depressed and whatnot. You got to figure out a way to just keep taking action. Things will pop out for you eventually. We provide support as needed. We're referees. You notice I don't say mentors or coaches. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Okay. These guys charge anywhere from $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for coaching. Come on. Anyway, you know my thoughts on that now. I like Morpheus. Morpheus, I really like him. Anyway, this guy's man. But he said it best. I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. Okay. Not just me, but the other people. Like Andy Holland has always been great support in this. Adrian Morgan, they're both also, by the way, they're both lenders. Adrian and Mark Morgan. Anyway, now just get in the game, guys. Okay, just take action and just watch YouTube and Google stuff and whatnot. Okay, take action. Okay, you'd be surprised how much you can actually make money by accident. Okay, surprisingly. Anyway, I just put this up here because this guy won the New York State bodybuilding title by accident. Okay, so just get in the game. But like I said, don't get yourself in a whole lot of debt when it comes to like buying courses and coaching and mentoring. You don't need to. I mean, unless you're a masochist and that's your thing. Okay. I've been down that path. I don't like it. Okay. Our meetings, as I mentioned before, every second Monday of the month. Annual membership is $125 a year for one person, $200 for a couple, with free entrance, all benefits. Now, since these are online right now, these are free. When we start meeting in person, we do have to charge a door fee of $20 for non-members. Annual members, of course, get in as part of the membership. Okay. And at the door, you can apply that door fee to annual membership. Okay. In this case here, because it's free, obviously there's no door fee for tonight. I just hope you can take some notes and learn something from our speakers tonight. Tonight we have Auben Realty Columbia. They're establishing a presence here. I'll let the founder, Tyson Schuetze, tell you more about it, but I knew Tyson and Natalie, his cohort in this business from 2008. Okay, I mean, they literally had an office on Central Avenue in Augusta, Georgia, just had sheetrock walls. Okay. They've since, and I kind of lost touch with Tyson. He moved to Charleston to manage properties for Conrex, the big hedge fund that's been buying properties, that still buys properties in Columbia, Lexington, Aiken, But Tyson, he and Natalie have done some amazing things. They turned Auben Realty from one sheetrock walled office in Augusta, Georgia. Now they expanded that office. Now they have a presence in Tennessee. They have one in Charleston, and they're establishing one in Columbia. Okay, I know Tyson is that is honest and ethical as you're going to get, not just as an investor, as a person. Okay, so I know they have a tell us, and they're a great resource for investors. And I met Chris, and I haven't met Mike yet. Janie, if I recall, Janie, I believe she was actually a commercial broker as well. So with was it Janie? I don't know if you can hear me. Was it Sherman and Ham Street? But anyway, a bunch of experience on this team, and by all means, I think it'd be quite the oversight if you don't use them. Can everyone? Let me see if I can get you all on here.
Can you hear me, Bob? This is Tyson.
Yeah. Hey, Tyson.
Hey.
Can you take control of the screen?
Yeah. What I was going to do is I'm going to share in the chat messenger. I just shared a link to the presentation that I'll do a screen share on in case anybody wants to follow. So,
or if you want, Tyson, what I can do is I can put it on my screen, and when you say next slide, I can move to the next one.
Sure, that'd be great. If you want to do that, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Let me.
I just put it in the chat. You should see it there.
Oh, you put it in the chat just now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me. Oh, okay. There we go.
Watching TV.
Daddy.
Okay. How's Aaron and the kids?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you see my screen, Tyson?
I can.
Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Oops.
So it's taking a minute to load there.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm going to expand it, Tyson, and see if that's any better.
Sure.
Okay. That's your slide.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's your first slide, right?
That's the first one.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, so thanks for
take
having
it
us
away,
on.
Tyson. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us on, Bob. Good news is I don't have anything to sell you guys. So first off the bat, there's nothing, no mentor or coaching, so you can leave your credit cards in your wallets here. Like Bob, I started out going to a lot of seminars, trying to go to as many free ones as possible. I'll give a little background here as far as my personal investing background, and then I'd like to turn it over really to the Columbia team so we can describe what we're looking to do in Columbia, how we can help you all see if we can network together. On the call tonight, I have Chris DeTreville, who is one of Auben's agents in Columbia, is a seasoned investor himself. I have Philip Vera, who's here, who is Auben's CEO. He's listening. He's not going to be presenting. Courtney Wilson, I think, is on here. She's Auben's Director of Property Management, and lives in Aiken, has a strong knowledge of Aiken. Mike Jones is Auben's Investor Account Manager. I'll explain what that is a little bit later when we do the intro. And then Janie Peel was solo brokerage, running a commercial brokerage for a long time in Augusta. I met her when I first moved 15 years ago to Augusta, and recently she came over and her firm merged with Auben, and she's now acting as our director of sales. So I'll give a little background on sort of my investing journey and then turn it over to the rest of the team. I started in 2006, and I started in New York City initially as a leasing agent. I was very interested in getting into real estate. I got my license. I worked as a commission agent leasing properties in New York City. At the time, I was really interested in, trying to figure out a way that I could buy properties. But the cost of entry in New York was prohibitive for that. The risk, the initial dollars needed. So I started looking in Syracuse, New York. I bought my first property in Syracuse, New York. It was a triplex that I had analyzed several hundred deals before I purchased this one. Made every mistake imaginable. Had to evict multiple tenants. Had to move into a extended stay hotel in the middle of January in Syracuse, New York, which wasn't the best experience in the world. But bottom line, after all the experience I had, many mistakes later, I sold the property and made $10,000 profit. So I realized that there had to be something to this real estate investing. I was trying to figure out other ways to invest in New York, Syracuse, and ultimately I came across an opportunity to move to Augusta and learn with somebody who was down there. So I moved to Augusta in 2006. Didn't know anybody, started flipping houses, and my ambition was well in excess of my experience. Like Bob referenced earlier, I was going to get out there and I was going to figure it out. I think that, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I knew that I was interested in trading the asset I had at that time in my career, which was my time, for money, and knowledge. And so I went to every REIA in Augusta, every opportunity that I could meet or network with anybody in Augusta, I took it, and started flipping houses. Did pretty well, at that time. I think everybody was a genius because of the market up until about 2008. When the market turned, I had to figure out a way to rent some of the houses that I was planning on flipping. And so I tried actually a couple other local property management companies in Augusta, was really not happy with the results. And so I decided to try and manage them myself. Started with just managing a couple houses that I owned. And then ultimately I had a lot of my partners and really it was more so lenders that had been private capital and some other people that came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying some property. Would you manage it? And basically from there, 2008 up until 2014, Auben was doubling every year. It started out 20 houses, 50 houses, 100 houses, 200 houses, 400 houses. And I was just really trying to control the growth. It's a new experience for me, but I think what we tried to do since day one is act in our clients' and investors' best interest. I was a property investor first and a property manager second, but I think I realized early on that the strength of the investment would depend on the management. And so Auben really tried to, in every facet of our business, act more like strategic partners and asset managers as opposed to just a fee-based property manager. A lot of property managers have never owned properties. And that's fine, but I think that we've really tried to pride ourselves on having a team that's knowledgeable about investing, that's interested in investing, and then having a fee structure that supports our investors' profitability. And we've had investors that have started with 2 houses, 5 houses, and have gone to a couple hundred houses. So around 2012, 13, there was a hedge fund that came to town, Conrex, and I started working with them as a client in Augusta. We were representing them on the sale. We were helping them buy all the houses they bought in Augusta, and we worked with them, are still working with them currently, but they've bought over 1,000 properties in Augusta, and we've worked with them through the purchase of all of those homes. Started working with Conrex both on the sales side, and we were doing their property management. And through that relationship, they asked me to come on board and run their renovation department nationwide. So in 2014, I left Auben at sort of the peak of its growth, went to a consulting job in Charleston, started managing Conrex's renovation department. At the time, they were doing about 30 renovations a month. We grew that number to 100 to 150 scatter site single family homes from Jackson, Mississippi to Kansas City. And around 2 years after I started with Conrex, they asked me to take over their property management. And so from 2016 to 2018, I was in charge of Conrex's property management, and we grew from 1,000 properties to when I initially started to when I left in 2018, it was 7,500 homes under management. So I had a lot of gray hair now that I didn't have then. But the amazing thing about the experience was what I was able to learn. In 2018, I had to make a decision basically to go all in with Conrex and leave Auben behind, or return to Auben. And I decided what I really wanted to do was take all of the knowledge that I had gained at Conrex and return and bring Auben from a regional. We had one office, or we had at the time one office in Augusta and one in Chattanooga, and wanted to grow Auben into a much larger regional and ultimately a national company. And so returned in 2018, started recruiting a lot of the folks that are on this call, and basically, we're building and have built an infrastructure and a foundation to be a national full service investment brokerage. I say full service, we have a unique model that we'll talk to in a little bit, but we have a sales piece, a project management piece, and a property management. So, the structure is set up in a way where we're accountable to each piece of an investment. So we can't ever blame an outside party. We can't blame a bad buy if we're the people that sold it to you. We can't blame a poor reno when we're the ones that oversaw the renovation. We can't blame a bad tenant if we're the ones that procured the tenant. So the structure really has an inherent accountability in it. And our goal is to basically work with investors to help them transition from being very active in their investments to being passive. One key distinction I would make is Auben services really won't work unless an investor is willing and able and ready to be passive in their investments. And I say this as somebody that started my career as being extremely active in my investments, but over time, I was wanting to recapture my time and willing to pay dollars, to get that time back. So I'll talk about that in the slide, but I believe that there's a sort of progression that, from my experience, that all investors should make of being more active when they start, and then as they get certain levels of knowledge and experience and trust, releasing the pieces that they're least interested or least able. I'm very much a believer that we all should be generalists to a certain point, but specialize once we decide what it is that we're best at and what we're most passionate about. So, Bob, if you want to go to the next slide here, we can start going through there. So,
See you, Tyson.
yep, I got it. Thank you very much, Bob. So again, to the overview, we're going to talk about, the journey from being an active investor to a passive. We're going to introduce Chris DeTreville and just let him give a little bit of his bio and talk about how an Auben agent is different than stereotypical sort of agents are out there. Because they're trained in investing, they're investors themselves, a lot of them, and they're very keyed into the relationships and markets to try to dig up deals. And then we're going to introduce Mike Jones, who's the Columbia, what we call an investor account manager. The acronym we use for that is an IAM. So you can go to the next slide, Bob. Thank you. So just giving my journey here a little bit from, I'm a full-time investor at this point, as well as owner of the brokerage. But, as much as I love running the company, I love the investing just as much, and have really been able to see the benefits of, what can happen when you invest over time. And 15 years at this point, some of the bad investments I made 10 years ago have been cured by time. So that's one of the beautiful things about real estate too, is if you make some bad investments but hang around long enough, persistent, and just resilient, I think that, it is something that over time you're only going to see better and better benefits of investing. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So as far as, getting started, and I'm not sure the skill level of or experience of people on this call, but really I think this, this advice is applicable regardless of where you are in your investing journey. Actively sort of doing the work of investing, and while simultaneously studying, reading, and talking about it. I started out in single family houses. Right now, I'm very active in some commercial investments because it's a whole new world for me. So I basically have, outsourced all of the decisions on all my single family properties to my team at Auben, the investor account manager, the agents, the project managers. They're making all the decisions on my behalf, which this time that I've gotten back has allowed me to pursue, new challenges of becoming knowledgeable and experienced in investing in commercial, multifamily, mixed use. Right now, I even have a build to rent neighborhood that I'm looking to do in Augusta. I have the land, but that'll be a multi-year project. All of those things are not possible if I was still active in my single family portfolio. So also, just the last item there, I'm a big believer of, being a student allows you to be a better manager of your managers. A good owner manager relationship is built on trust, but I think it's important that, the client knows the right questions to ask of the manager knows, the right questions to ask of the client, and vice versa. So, I think that active participation in the early days of your investing can pay huge dividends down the road. We're big on the engineers triangle at Auben, and what it is basically it says, on a triangle you can pick any two, but one of the items has to give. And so basically at Auben, we've always tried to say, and for my own personal investing, quality is something we're not going to, sacrifice. In the early days, I traded a lot of my time to try to make up for the quality. And some ways I'd explain that is I would work around shortcomings of contractors, strategic partners. I would stage them. I would lead them kind of through the project. It took an inordinate amount of my time, but it saved me money, the money that I didn't have at that time, right? At this point, as the market's changed, as my strategy has changed, I'm more willing to pay, the right contractor to do the right work from day one. I don't really care what he makes as long as it's a fair price and I don't have to be bothered with the little details of it. That's something that took time for me to fully understand, the different scenarios where I thought I was saving money, but realized how much of my time it was actually costing me. So, also this is something that changes with markets. Right now, when we've talked about this a lot in Augusta, the market is such that, contractors and good contractors especially are able to demand a premium, right? And so to offset that, you can either, cut quality, you can, try to piecemeal it together yourself and take more time, or you can just understand that there's going to be a higher cost associated with it. For me personally, I'm not willing to sacrifice the quality in terms of the product that I put out. And I don't want the, headaches of my time, being lost in something that's not the highest and best use of my time right now. So I've just accepted that in this current phase of the market cycle, I'm going to pay more than I have in previous market cycles, and that's fine. I think it's also being offset with raising, rental rates well beyond what we've been able to do in the past. Properties are appreciating at a much higher level than they have in the past. So there's other things there to offset the increase in price, but that's just one example there. In the engineered triangle, I think ultimately the other thing I've worked on is understanding that you're going to pay a cost somewhere, and I would rather pay with my dollars to an expert than try to pay with my time to people that are really not capable of doing the job that I'd hired them to do. So, I'm going to go to the next slide, Bob. And these lessons, it's easy for me to say this now, but I'm Swiss and I'm very stubborn. I'm Swiss German, so I'm very stubborn by nature. A lot of these lessons were learned, over 5,000 renovations later. So, they weren't lessons that I immediately sort of adopted after doing a house or two. But I say this so hopefully that some people out there can learn the lessons earlier on in their journey and be more profitable with less stress. I think that ultimately I could have, been a lot less stressed and equally as profitable if I had understood and been willing to release control to the right people earlier on in my career. I'm a huge reader. My parents owned a bookstore growing up. Every year I set out to read 52 books. Every year I fail, but the goal doesn't change until I hit it. Here's a couple of the books that, have been very meaningful to my journey. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm from a family of wage earners, long sort of lineage of wage earners, that the whole notion of sort of getting my money to work for me was a new concept. That obviously that's the, one of the original kind of texts for that. The one thing has been one of my favorites. It's a book that we just finished as a book club at Auben. Talks about focus. It's by Gary Keller, and about basically, spending your time on activity that is the highest and best use of your time. And I said activity singular, not plural, because it focuses you to narrow your scope on what you're doing. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to narrow your ambition at all. It just, you can get there a lot faster with the right sort of plan and process. Start with Why, great book about purpose. The Advantage has probably been the most transformational book to Auben and the leadership team. Philip's on here, is the CEO. And one of the things that book did is it really gave my organization the ability to have direct, candid conversations with each other about things that we were doing that were helpful and not helpful to the organization. I'm very much a believer in direct communication. I want to know, if what I'm doing is beneficial to the organization, and I want everybody in the organization to feel they have the opportunity to address that directly with any member of the team. So that's a great book by Patrick Lencioni. If you guys are familiar with him, he also wrote The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, which I haven't read, but several others that I've heard are amazing. Let My People Go Surfing. This is by Yvon Chouinard. This is a guy that started Patagonia. Phenomenal book. Very much he has a quote that I love, that it was very relatable to me. I didn't exactly have the youth of a choir boy. And he says, if you want to understand the entrepreneur, study a juvenile delinquent. And basically the whole premise is entrepreneurs fundamentally believe they see the world the way that it is, and they ask why. Why is it this way? Why does it have to be this way? Can it be done differently? But he talks about, with that responsibility of being an entrepreneur and forcing change, there's also a responsibility of sort of giving back, being a good steward of the earth, the community. Yvon Chouinard in that book is unbelievable. It talks about giving a lot of freedom and autonomy to your team, and managing with very wide lanes, with the understanding that if you bring on the right people and have that approach to management, everybody appreciates it. Stillness is a Key. It's a book I read recently because I'm not one prone to kind of being still, but I'm working on it. This is by Ryan Holiday. He's written a couple different books, and this is basically also a philosophy that's strong to Auben. Is we have these grand direction and vision of where we want to take the company. I know we'll get there. I'm somebody that would like us to be there 2 months from now, but it's also understanding that our growth needs to be responsible growth, and it needs to be sustainable growth. And so in order to do that, we need to sort of slow down, make sure we've got the right foundation, infrastructure, and team in place, so that as we grow, it's a smooth ride, both for our team and our clients and residents that all interact with Auben. So those are a couple of the books. Always looking for new suggestions. If anybody has anything that they want to recommend, definitely let me know. If you want to go to the next slide, Bob, I appreciate it. So, and you'll see this, we speak a lot about team at Auben. We have what we refer to as a pod. And this is fitting with our belief that, it's good to be a generalist to a point, but we want is specialists. And you'll see in a slide here in the future that we have a team of people that will interact with your property at different stages, and each one of them will be interacting with a perspective that is their sort of fundamental, area of expertise within real estate investing. We have an investor account manager, a maintenance coordinator, a resident experience manager, agent. You'll see on the other slide, but all of this, is a team that's behind your property. Typically, most property management companies, they're managed in one of two ways. It's either you have a departmental based management where you have the maintenance department, you have the leasing department, you have the accounting department, and there's no interaction or overlapping, there's clunky handoffs. Or you have the portfolio manager where it's one person that sort of knows everything about your property and the investor, but if they leave, you're in a lot of trouble. And so we've tried to, again, over the course of thousands of properties under management, we've tried to really build a system that allows for specialization, has built-in layers of redundancy, but still has a smooth sort of experience for our clients. So, Bob, if you want to go to the next one. So this is, we try to also extend out into the community to have a team that extends beyond just, people who work at Auben. A lot of our investors are not local. We have a lot of regional and national people that we work with. Some of them are hedge funds, some of them are individuals, but we have several people on the diagram here that are on our team, but we're also looking for good partners in Colombia. We're looking for more lenders that are willing to invest to out-of-state folks, or lend to out-of-state folks, excuse me. we're looking for, closing attorneys that can, have a good process and system to fit with ours, but still, aren't so much of a machine that they can't provide a little hand holding to some people that are, trusting a team of people that they may have never met in a city they've never been to. We're looking for more trade partners, insurance agents. So, in Columbia, we've got some of these folks, but we're really looking to get out there and network. And that's where Chris and Mike, especially as two of the people on the ground in Columbia, please reach out to them if you know of any folks that are interested in working with new investors. We also have other trade partners in other markets. If you guys are looking for somebody that, you feel you're not getting, an insurance option that you want, a lot of our other folks are regional too. And so may be able to help you as well. So, Bob, if you want to go to the next. So, a lot of questions here, about what are you looking for in a property manager? As I said earlier on the call, we offer sales, project management, and property management. Property management is really the kind of backbone of the business. It was the original piece, and all the sort of, good or bad decisions in there and manifest in the tenant and the retention of that tenant. What our plan has been is to get as far upstream of the investment as possible. Janie Peel and the sales team has come on board and really allowed us to bring on a lot of agents. Just in the couple months that Janie's been with us, we've added 20 plus agents in Augusta. And in doing so, what that allows us to do is we can help set the appropriate expectations at the beginning of the investment, as opposed to a lot of times we'll get involved in a investor bringing us a property where the right initial expectations weren't set with the buy. There was shoddy, project management or poor craftsmanship on the reno. And then they're struggling with why it's rented below market or why they're struggling with retention. Again, our system, you don't have to go through every piece in it, but it's designed in a way where in doing so, we can be much more accountable to the results by being involved in every piece. So, you want to go to the next slide, Bob? This is, I'll turn it over here to Chris, who's one of the Auben agents in Columbia, and he can tell you a little bit about his background and how he came to Auben and how he can help you as an agent. So thank you for going through the slides, Bob. If there's any questions at the end, I'd be happy to answer them for anybody on the call. So thank you all for participating in this.
Okay, thank you, Tyson.
Chris, are you on?
Yep, can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
Great. So I started in real estate just out of college, 2006. It was Russell and Jeff Coat, actually. A lot of the local Columbia folks will remember Russell and Jeff Coat before they got bought out. But started right out of college. So I was pretty green. Worked for a new construction company right before the market crash. Doing fairly well there, learned a lot. Once the market crashed, obviously, that was not the good place to be, and learned a lot there also. But I moved to a local property management company, a big property management company here in Columbia, and worked as a leasing agent for 5 years, and did some sales with them. They didn't, and to this day don't do that much sales, and I couldn't believe that they didn't, because I mean they had, investor leads coming in and out. The owner of the company was referring them out, and I was just like, it's such a wasted opportunity. I couldn't stand that they were doing that. But anyway, so I sort of cut my teeth there. I learned a lot about the property management side of the business. And that's kind of where I started to focus on investment sales. So I started with new homes, some residential, and I still do some residential, but investor sales are what I really like. My family I have a background in it with my family. It's just, my grandfather sold his furniture business to buy real estate. I saw the value of that. He is a big influence on me. So I bounced around after the property management company. I think one other sales firm, like a smaller sales firm, because I kind of wanted to get out of that corporate side of it. And eventually, after a couple of years with them, I found Auben. I'm actually the Conrex agent for Auben, so I buy for Conrex, the hedge fund here. But man, what a fit Auben was for my personal style. I couldn't believe that there was a firm out there. Really, what I couldn't believe was there wasn't another firm that was doing this. And that's full service real estate focused on investments. And, it's great to sell a house, but it's, in my opinion, it's a lot more rewarding to sell to investors. And that's just what I really love to do. So we're growing here. We hired Michael Lee, who's on the call listening in. We're both investors ourselves, and we're excited to work with Columbia and get it going. I guess we can go to the next slide. Okay, in terms of getting started, I mean, most of the investors here, I guess, are fairly seasoned. Maybe some new ones. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, but obviously what Tyson talked about, reading, just getting into the game. I think that was earlier in the presentation. I think he talked about, Bob, was like you just gotta get in the game. So what I would say is to give me or Michael a call. Let us talk to you about what you're looking for and that sort of thing. I think that's more on the next slide if you want to move to that. Just dialing in exactly what you want to do. I'm a relationship guy, so I like to talk to you. I like to figure out what exactly you're looking for. Sometimes it takes some feeling out for the investor and the real estate agent to kind of figure out exactly what's what the investor wants. Sometimes I can change their mind on some things if I have some good ideas. It's very important that we're investor friendly. We kind of touched on that. Knowledge and experience, 15 years for me personally, but the company as a whole, obviously we've talked to that in. Deal flow, who you're competing with. I mean, right now in this market, it's pretty crazy. A lot of the deals that we're doing right now are off market. Auben's really been crucial in allowing us to find some of those off-market deals. A lot of the wholesalers come to us because they know that we've got competent investors that are going to close. So it's very important. You can go to the next slide, please. All right, so touched on this a little bit, but we want to figure out what you're looking for. You want to learn the market. You want to figure out exactly. I think a lot of the investors here may know the market. Well, we try to know the market very well. One of the big things here is taxes, obviously. So you've got to have some tricks to get around that tax rate and that sort of thing. But let me know what you're looking for. Let us know what you're looking for. If there's certain things that are more valuable to you than others, like cash flow as opposed to appreciation, that sort of thing, we can take that all into consideration. And the big thing is just matching the property to the investor. That's what this is all about. We got people that want to do flips. We have people that want to do buy and hold. Obviously, it's a different strategy. So we're equipped to be able to handle that for you. So I think the next slide, if you don't mind. Is Mike Jones. So he's our investor account manager. We'll segue into Mike. He is the investor account manager for Columbia. I'll let him take over here. Mike, are you there?
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. I tried to get my video working. I'm not sure what's going on with that, so I apologize for that. But yeah, my name is Mike Jones. I'm the investor account manager here for Auben. I come with over 15 years of residential real estate experience from the Northern Virginia area. Kind of specialized in foreclosed properties up there, selling foreclosures for Wells Fargo and Fannie Mae. I couldn't tell you how many houses I renovated for those two up in Northern Virginia over the years. Anything from just small, small, easy renovations to just full blown, everything from the studs out. Came to Auben back in August of last year. Right now, I'm the eyes and the ears and the boots on the ground here in the area for the property management team. We are currently in the process of trying to find our resident experience manager to add the next part of the pod system. But right now, I am the eyes and the ears for the company here in Columbia. Excuse me. My approach is I try to keep things as simple as possible. I treat every property like it was my own. I think that's the best way to approach this. Same thing with the investors, same thing with the residents, same thing with my vendors. I treat everybody the exact same way that I would like to be treated. I think that's the best way to do business, and I think that's just a good philosophy to live your life by as well too. I'm a very, very straight, direct person. I don't sugarcoat anything. Whether it's good news or bad news, it's news, and bad news does not get better with age. So it's a very, very direct approach, like Tyson was talking about earlier. I just feel that's, I feel, and, obviously Tyson feels that way, and it's just, it's a good way to do business in my opinion. But besides that, just one of the things that, I'm very, very happy with is just, Auben's approach, our team. I've had a few different jobs over my, 25 plus professional years. And the people I'm working with right now, I can't say enough good things about them. And that's very rare that I've come to learn, that when you've got such a great team, very smart, passionate, dedicated team around you, it makes going to work fun. It makes going to work great. And it's so good to be a part of something special. I know a lot of my team members have heard me say it a lot, but I'll scream it from the mountaintops. It's great when you have such a supportive team behind you, and it makes you excel at your job as well too. But as far as my role goes, like I said, I'm the eyes and the ears. Right now, I'm overseeing the leasing, the project management, every aspect of it right now. And like I said, I'm a straight shooter, and I will treat everybody the way that I want to be treated if they were in my position. So,
Mike,
Tyson,
this is Tyson. Could I chime in one thing?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just the investor account manager role as Mike is filling in Columbia. When we open a new market, it's the first role that we hire for. And that individual does all pieces of the sort of business there. And then as we grow the market, we strategically bring on the other roles in there, which would be the resident experience manager. And one of the interesting thing about this pod structure is our resident experience managers don't talk to owners. And it's by design, not that we don't want them to, but we just believe that traditional property management sets up a tug of war that ultimately doesn't benefit anyone. And so we have a structure in where, you know, Mike, as he backfills with the resident experience manager, you know, will continue to build out his team of specialists. Ultimately, you know, while we add on more and more people, we're adding on more services that we can provide, more depth that we can build into the relationship. While Mike ultimately focuses on building, creating, and developing relationships with investors. We have a questionnaire that we ask our investors to fill out because we want to know that we're going to be a good fit for them and them for us. And so, you know, that's what Mike, Courtney is also, I am on here, and some of the other investor account managers, they do it exceptionally well. I don't know if you can see on the slide here, but, you know, Mike took a underperforming portfolio and in less than a year doubled the, you know, the monthly profit on that portfolio just through, you know, repositioning, putting the right tenants in there, just the basic fundamentals. It's not, you know, the glamorous stuff, but it's all of those activities that need to be done that I think can get lost in different parts of traditional property management companies that we always look at in terms of how profitable is our owner. If our owners are profitable, the thought process is they'll buy more properties. And we've seen that over and over again. So, you know, we set up our tier, our incentives to our team members, our own internal incentives to our leadership team is all based on driving revenue for our owners and making them more profitable. And Mike's done a phenomenal job, you know, of it there, and is happy to, you know, meet with, speak to any investors that are interested in finding out how Auben is sort of a different experience than anything you've encountered with property management previously. So, anything else about that, Mike? I think if we go to the next. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Teal will asking, what are some qualifications you're looking for in your investment partners?
I mean, I wouldn't really say there's any qualifications. I mean, we're looking for anybody that wants to get into the world of investing. I think that's another thing that you know, we could do well, or we do well, is taking people that want to get into the game. Just like Chris was talking about earlier. You know, we don't discriminate whether you're a seasoned veteran or, you know, you're new to investing. We want to work with everybody. If you don't know where to begin, well, you come to us. We'll help you begin. We'll get your foot in the door. We'll get you started. If you don't know the right people to contact, you know, we'll get you in contact with those people that can get you the money. You know, like Tyson was talking about earlier. So I wouldn't say there's any specific set of characteristics, just more so the people kind of with the right attitude that would fit with you know, with our attitude. I mean, we're all, you know, we all love real estate. We all in this to make money. So let's get together and you know, have the right mindset and do it together.
Yeah, and I would add to that too, Mike. Philip just uploaded into the chat a link to you can see a strategy sort of questionnaire. I would say the biggest quality a client needs to have if they're coming to us is they need to have a willingness to transition into a less active role in their investment. All of the great, strong partnerships that we've been able to build are built on a level of trust, a willingness to partner together and release control. Any of the, you know, the relationships I said have not worked, it's been a fundamental quality where the investors said they wanted to release control, but their actions indicated otherwise, right? And so, you know, I would only expect that anybody would release control to somebody that demonstrates an aptitude and qualifications to do so, but that has to be a part of it. And I think that's investors by nature. I think a lot of them are people that want to sort of control things. They want to predict the outcome, But I think that what I found over time is you get better results by, again, having specialists do what they are best at doing. I saw another question here. Do our investors have to be accredited? No. We have people that are doing their first deal, and we have people that have done thousands of deals. So, we offer the ability to invest in any of our markets and have the same, level of service. Just to be clear, though, too, to answer that question, we're a fee-based brokerage right now. We're not a fund. I am going to be doing a fund in the next 6 to 12 months. It's a separate thing, but for right now, if you come into Auben, you're coming in and you're bringing your investment properties. We manage everything from single family rentals. We have a sister company called benaboo.com that does furnished rentals. And then we also manage commercial properties and small multifamily. We do not manage large multifamily that requires on-site management, because we just believe that there's some other people that are better equipped to do that. But 100 units or less, single family properties, mixed use, commercial properties, and furnished rentals are all things that we actively manage in Augusta, Columbia, Chattanooga, and Charleston. Scott, I see you're asking a question, but I cannot see your question here. Can somebody else see that? Where? Oh, are we looking for new agents? Yes, we are looking for new agents. We're looking for beginner agents and experienced agents. We have some systems. The next slide after this is Janie Peel, our director of sales, who's going to talk to you kind of about her sales experience, all of the knowledge, and what she's bringing to sales, along with the technology and team that we're trying to give to support her. But we're absolutely looking for agents at this time.
Hey, Tyson, Tim Bradford's asking any Airbnbs.
Yes, we do. When I said furnished rental, Bob, we do full.
Hey, Tim, we can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that wasn't me talking, Bob.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Can you hear me, Bob?
My bad. I can hear you, Tyson.
That's
Okay.
better now, Tyson.
Bob, if you go to staybenaboo.com, stay, S-T-A-Y, Benaboo, B-E-N-E-B-U.com. That's our, or benaboo.com, B-E-N-E-B-U.com. Those are our furnished rental. It's Airbnb. We do full service. We haven't opened this in Columbia yet. It's coming there. We've got it in Augusta, and we're just opening in Chattanooga, and Columbia is the next market.
Tyson, how do you spell it again?
Go to B-E-N-E-B-U.
Okay.
.com. Yeah.
Thanks, Tyson.
But we do offer full service management of, there it is. Full service management of short-term, mid-term rentals. You can, if you go there, Bob, and click on Stay with Benaboo, you can see up at the top there, you can see some of the examples of the different properties. We help investors buy these, we renovate them, we design them, and then we manage them. This is, we call them more midterm stays. We try to get away from the nightly rental. That one there is one that I actually own right there. And it's the property that as a long-term rental would have rented for $1,200 a month. And now, we're getting $2,500 a month as a furnished rental with utilities. So it's a model that I believe in heavily personally. And it's something that we're doing more and more with small multifamily units too. If you scroll down Bob, there's a couple other, you have to scroll in the middle of the page, use that interior scroll bar. Yeah, keep scrolling. Anyways, there's other ones there if you guys want to check it out. It's benaboo.com. But that's a service we'll be bringing to Columbia soon.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, we use designers and local artists, professional photographers. We're big on, this is not the crap under the couch Airbnb, as I like to call it, is just looks like somebody just rolled out 10 minutes before you showed up. These are designed to be full-time properties. This is also one of my favorite strategies because it allows you to own a different type of asset that don't necessarily work for long-term rentals. Specifically, you can own properties in Rosewood, Shandon, Forest Acres that may be hard to buy based on long-term rental numbers, but the furnished rental numbers will actually make them, as profitable or more profitable than long-term rentals. So it's a tangent we can, talk about on another time, but we'd be happy to have one of our team members come on here and talk about furnished rentals if that's something you're interested in too, Bob. I don't want to bog this call down before we turn it over to Janie.
I'm glad you told me about this. Thanks, Tyson.
If you want to go back to the slides, I think the next the tab that says Columbia REIA there in the middle.
Okay, I think Tim's asking, Scott's asking, the strategy works well with traveling professionals like travel nurses, you think?
Yeah, so we're intentionally targeting what we call midterm stays, people that are coming for contract work. So exactly that, Tim or Scott. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who's asking that, but in Augusta, there's a large transient population of medical professionals, travel nurses, people coming out to Vogel. And the properties are designed to basically you show up, you drop your bags, and you can stay there. They've got washer dryers, plates, linens, everything. So we've also found it's a lot more scalable to do midterm stays than trying to run a hotel. We're not trying to run a hotel. So, but that's something that Mike will be bringing to you guys in the future. But we're not quite ready there yet. We use Augusta as sort of our training ground, work the kinks out of our concepts, and then spread them out to our other markets.
Well, thank you. I have some properties in Aiken I wouldn't mind putting with you.
Mike, are there any other comments or items you want to add to that before we go to the next slide?
Hey, Tyson, in my report, Tim's asking, is the Augusta market saturated?
It's saturated from what standpoint? I mean, there's a major housing shortage right now for rental and sales. There's a lot of investors there, but I'm a firm believer there are deals in any and every market. So they're definitely not in abundance of rental properties right now. Peak season.
Yeah, Tim's asking with rentals.
Yeah, no, we have less than, and Courtney or Philip could chime in better than I could. I think there's less than 100 active listings in the entire CSRA on Zillow right now or something like that. I mean, it's unbelievable for this time of year. So historically, Auben has had at different points of the year when absorption rates were lower, 30, 40, 50 listings active at one point, and we had very good days on market, 14 days, 21 days average days on market, and we would carry 30 to 50 actives at a time. Now it's surprising if we ever have more than 5, and that's 800 units under management in Augusta right now. So we go to the next slide.
Okay,
here.
thank you, Mark. Thank you, Tyson.
This is something that we can, Philip, if you don't mind just posting a video in here from Auben's YouTube channel with how the pod system works. We can save some time. I know everybody's been patient on here, so this is more about how our pod system works and how the IAM is at the center of it. We have a video that sort of walks through how this system works. But again, this was something that was created after managing thousands of properties and just seeing the flaws in the two typical property management structures, which are department-based or portfolio-based. So our pod is sort of a blend or hybrid of those two approaches. We'll go to the next slide. Bob, please. This is Janie. We saved the best for the last. Janie, I have known for 15 years or something like that. We keep saying somewhere between 13 and 15, depending what day you ask us. But she is a wealth of knowledge about sales, about commercial, you know, and really anything real estate related. Janie was also kind enough when I showed up in Augusta 10, 15 years ago and had no clue what I was doing, she humored me. And I think that says a lot about Janie. She believed in downtown and just getting people excited and interested about downtown enough that she, you know, let me run around and look at different things and gave me, you know, her most valuable thing, her time, which, you know, I'm just happy to be able to work with her in a greater role, and really excited about what she's doing for our sales team and what she's going to do for future agents that we recruit on in terms of mentoring and guiding. So I'll turn it over to Janie now, and she can tell a little bit more about you know, her investing career and what she's currently doing.
Hey guys, yes, I am the older one in the group, and I have to tell you that being around all of these young professionals that are very software and tech savvy is very exciting for me. It's an exciting merger that we've done, and I've got to tell some Tyson stories. Every time we got together, we talked about, you know, how we got to continue to work together. I've sold in buildings over the years. I'm a big advocate of downtowns. Love downtowns. I take vacations in downtown cities. We are in the process right now of purchasing a building that's over $1 million to move our teams into. I think when I showed it to Tyson, the building was an old theater gutted in a little rough part of downtown. And I think the price tag may have been $60,000. Fast forward 13, 15 years later, and now we are buying the building. It is an income producing building, mixed use, and we're putting our whole team in there. And we haven't told Tyson yet, but when we looked at it today, we've almost outgrown the building. And we have another building that we are going to renovate, which hopefully we'll never run out of space in. But yes, we are hiring agents and customer service people. We're continually growing the team. I keep telling the other team members in the other departments, we are not recruiting new agents. I keep saying, Janie, you know, we've got to keep up with all this volume that y'all are bringing in. The agents are coming to us. When they found out about the merger, we've also merged with Bob Steed, who is a land and development specialist, which really adds a nice spice to the team. We're doing some really big deals. We have 25 licensed agents. Our production in May was 25 million. So that averages out about $1 million in production per each agent. Of course, we've got, you know, some of our big producers and some that are being trained. We do train specialists, but we have a fee structure that is awesome. And we do allow people to work, whether it's investment or if they want to sell something owner occupied to a family member or a friend. We want to do multifamily, commercial. A little story on Mike and Chris. We had a shopping center, and they asked me if I could come over and help them with the leasing. So absolutely love leasing shopping centers. So first thing we do is we get it on the internet. We belong to every commercial internet source out there, as well as, you know, of course, with our rentals and property management too. But I put the listing up. The next thing you know, Chris and Mike are calling Uncle. They're saying, take it off the internet. We've got so much interest. And I believe we had 6 spaces. They have leased up 4 of them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, the landlord, the owner is going to be so happy about it. It's going to allow us now to have a little bit more cash flow, be a little choosier on who we put in, and make this a better center for our clients. So it's been exciting. I definitely threw Chris and Mike into the fire, but they've done great. I'm now writing a procedure of how to do it so that I don't have to do this with the next agents that want to learn about the commercial real estate business. So we love all of it. We've hired a new agent since I've come on board that in Columbia that just closed a really nice deal. The best thing about this job is I get to approve the invoices for payment. So really pleased. You know, Chris does a great job for Conrex, and I sign a lot of invoices approvals for him also. When I first met Mike and Chris, came back and I said, wow, I'm totally impressed. We have a great culture. We don't hire anybody that's not a team player. So any of y'all that are team players want to come on board, we always manage to find the inventory. So don't worry about anything being, you know, overbuilt or not available. We will find what our investors are looking for. And that's what we want to be known for. So appreciate y'all having us and hope to hear from y'all.
Hey, Janie, Scott's saying that he'd like to stop by the office and introduce himself. He's in Augusta on a daily basis, working at Fort Gordon at the hospital. He'd be so absolutely. I think he'd be a great addition.
Absolutely.
By the way, for what it's worth, Janie, I've heard your name throughout the years. My initial markets were in Augusta. I've heard your name. Oh my goodness! Now you've never dealt with me because you've always been a level above me. So, thank you. I appreciate you presenting. This is great.
Right. Bob, you would not believe how much I've been learning. This real estate world is changing momentarily. So there's always so much to learn, and always glad to help, always glad to learn. Yes, anybody that wants to come by, just make sure you text or call me. I'll buy you coffee. We have great coffee shops, restaurants. Would love to talk to any of y'all that are in town. I try to get to Columbia at least once a month. I love coming to Columbia. Be willing to come even more often. And one other thing that we didn't mention, we do extensive training, and we bring in other investors. We bring in other members from the team. We do field trips. So training is really big for us. And like I said, we want everybody to be exposed to every type of market in the real estate world. Oh, one ask that we have, and this is a real serious ask, any parcel of land on sewer, we have a cash buyer developer that is closing things like crazy. And as long as it's in a productive area, which usually if sewer's there, it is productive, doesn't have to just be Columbia. So of course, Aiken, we love the Aiken, North Augusta markets too. Really need some licensed South Carolina realtors. We've got so much going on, you know, on both sides of the river. So anything, any land with sewer, we don't care what size it is.
Well, one thing I would just add too is ultimately our goal is to, you know, build a link between the Augusta and Columbia market to be able to service all the sub markets between there. We already have a presence in Aiken, North Augusta, stronger in North Augusta than Aiken currently, but you know, we're looking to build that and continue to expand on that. You know, we also have some activity and manage some property in Charleston and looking to expand to the upstate as well. So, you know, we want to grow our network and team by bringing on other individuals that are like-minded. It's a great place to come on board and, you know, just learn. I think that's the best part I would add about it is, you know, with Janie's addition, Bob, like you said, you know, there there were years that, you know, and still are many years that, you know, she's ahead of me in different levels of experience. There's other areas that I've just spent more time, and it's a great, you know, synergy to learn from each other. So, you know, I think that we have that mindset of all of our team members are learning from everybody, regardless of kind of their age or experience. And just a willingness to, you know, Janie and the other commercial agents to slow down and teach, you know, myself and the other team members the things we need to know to be better investors, better managers, as we continue to expand our footprint. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Tyson, Tim's asking why Columbia?
So Auben's whole model is to operate in secondary and tertiary markets, right? So we don't really have any intention of opening in Atlanta or Charlotte because they're primary markets. We believe that our investors can get better, less speculative returns in the secondary and tertiary market. So Columbia is a perfect, I think it's kind of a perfect, what I would call a middle market. It's more similar to Augusta than it is to Chattanooga or Charleston. And therefore there's more value in the form of cash flow and less speculation than some of these other secondary, tertiary markets that have developed faster. You know, I like Charleston, I like Greenville, I like Chattanooga, but I just feel there's more value and upside in markets like Augusta and Columbia that are a little bit, you know, further behind, so to speak, in their development cycle. So, you know, Columbia also has the, you know, government there. Obviously, I know, I don't know if you guys know SFR3, but they're another hedge fund there. Their whole model was simply to invest in cities around the country that had, that were seats for the state government, because they felt like there was an extra layer of stability there. So Columbia having, you know, being the capital of South Carolina and you know, the University of South Carolina, there's a certain hedge built in there against any sort of market correction. So, you know, how am I evaluating the markets? I mean, there's a million different layers you can get into with that. I mean, at this point, I just had the benefit of seeing and physically you know, I guess I'm evaluating the markets by time served in the markets at this point. I spent a good 4 years on the road from Jackson, Mississippi to Kansas City, Missouri, Indianapolis, Dayton, Columbus. You know, I was responsible for all those markets. And I think that the markets in South Carolina and Georgia were the best out there, specifically because they're very, very pro-business. The legislation is pro-business, it's pro-landlord. The affordability life of living coupled with the, you know, wages and high wage growth as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there. If you want to message me, you can really get in the weeds on it. Just know that Columbia is a phenomenal market, you know, better than most. I don't know if there are any more slides. we can go to the next one and find out and see. I get.
Hey, Andy's asking, have you seen the difference between owner occupant and non-owner occupant property taxes in Lexington and Richland for buy and holds, and how does it compare to other markets that you are invested in for long-term buy and hold? You know, over dinner, Tyson, we got into that property tax issue.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a perfect market, right? And so Columbia's tax is the biggest issue. You know, my story on that is, you know, when I was at Conrex, I think they had bought 500 houses before they had realized you know, and all of those houses were being underwritten with the, you know, with the owner occupant tax rate, millage rate, until, you know, they realized that it was going to double or triple. I believe that, there's a strategy that works in any market. I think there's still a ton of deals that make sense there. And that's one of the workarounds that you just have to be aware of, or one of the, factors to it. Augusta doesn't have that, but it has, the thing that people say about Augusta, which again, I'm not that concerned with, what happens if Fort Gordon were to close, right? What happens if the military base were to close? The likelihood of that happening is slim to non-existent, but there's always, dynamics and risks in any sort of market. And I think that, what I would suggest too in Columbia, if you're not getting the return that you want on single family homes, change your strategy. Go to furnished rental, look at multifamily, commercial, mixed use, go to adopt a strategy and see what, what else there is sort of out there for that. So, but back to the slide, if anybody's interested in joining or hearing more about sort of the agents, you can reach out to Janie. Janie did a phenomenal job of, not talking as much as she can. And I say that in the best way because she's a wealth of knowledge. So I'd already occupied enough airspace that I think that she was brief on what we can do and what she can do. But there's a dynamic sales team that they're really doing some cool things.
Tyson, do you have to be licensed to join the team?
No, so as far as being licensed, we have a number of positions that don't require license. Sure. We also have a number of positions that require licensure that we allow people to obtain that license after they've already come to work with us. If you're going to be a sales agent, you need to be licensed, but there's other positions that don't require that.
Well, this has just been great, Tyson. This is awesome. Someone's making one more comment here. Oh, hey, Janie, thank you. I hope everyone's checking their chat because there's a wealth of information in the chat. I'm also saving them. So if you're not saving, I'll see if I can put them up on the with the replay as well. But well, thank you, Tyson. Is there any parting comments or anything that you'd like to let us know, you, Janie, or Mike, or Chris?
I would just say thank you for thank you for the opportunity. I've been to a ton of REIAs over the years, and I think having one that is interested in the success of their students and not just selling courses is refreshing, right? So what you're doing here, Bob, is a great thing. Anything we can do to help, we're not new to real estate investing, but we are new to the Columbia market. And so anybody that you think would be good for us to put in, to speak with, have them reach out to Chris or Mike. If you guys could post your info in that chat box too, that would be great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Tyson. Does anyone else have any last questions before that Tyson and his folks get some sleep?
I've got a 2-month-old. I'm not
If you
going
don't
to
have
be
any questions or
sleeping
anything
much.
else. Yeah. Congratulations on that, too. That's awesome. But okay. Does anyone have any last questions for anyone here? Okay. Well, wait. Someone just popped something in the chat. Might be an insult.
That was my contact information.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mike. That's awesome. Okay. Now I'll have the replay up as well as the chat in a couple days here when it's done processing. But Tyson, Janie, Mike, Chris, thank you very much. And Philip, thank you again. I appreciate it. And Mike Lee, I assume Mike Lee's on also. And let us know if there's any way we can help you as well. So we love it. It's great having you in the Columbia markets.
Well, we're excited to be there. I think it's a phenomenal market, and there's some great people we've met there, and we're looking to meet a lot more. So thanks, Bob, for putting on a great meeting here. And if there's anything we can do to help, all of our contact information is also on our website, aubenrealty.com.
Okay, well, that being said, everyone have a great evening. And Tyson, when you and the folks are back in town, let me know. I'll be glad to give you a tour of what I know about Columbia, Lexington, and this time dinner's on me. Okay.
I'll make sure to not bring 10 people next time. So then I'll let you buy them.
Please, doesn't matter. I'll treat you like royalty. Okay, everyone have a great evening, and thank you again.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.